r/AskReddit by LaughWithMEmes. Couples who have moved in together, what surprised you most about living with a male/female? How different our versions of "clean" are. The first thing every couple should do when they move in together is discuss what clean means to them. If you don't, you'll eventually have an exasperated fight where one partner feels like the other is not pulling their weight. How to clean is important too. Making the mess disappear into a drawer isn't everybody's idea of cleaning, for example. Everything has a decorative pillow on it. They are too small to be used for anything, and I'm not allowed to throw them on the floor or pile them all on one chair. The bed has a bunch and a long tube thing. I'm not allowed to whack her with the tube thing. Where did these come from? Why do we need them? If they are just in the way, can we put them in storage? No? Okay, babe, whatever you want. That your partner may follow you around the house just because. Please, stop following me. I'm not following you. Then what did you come in this room to do? I don't have to explain myself to you. After living with him for 4 years, I opened a drawer of his dresser. And it was empty. All of it. Apparently he thought it was my extra dresser. He doesn't use a dresser. Clothes get washed and put into a clean clothes hamper. He puts socks and underwear in his bedside table. Now I'm wondering what other furniture in our house is empty? What an absolute master chef he is. I thought I was a great cook until we moved in together and he started making meals. Blew my fucking mind. Now I think back to when we first started dating and he would eat my cooking and say it was the best he'd ever had. The little liar. Brings a smile to my face. Learning that there's a wrong way to fold towels apparently. My fiance doesn't get upset about folding towels, but she did inherit a towel problem from her grandma. Decorative towels. In the kitchen and in the bathroom there are pretty towels with quotes and stuff. I hate it. What a useful item to put on display. It is literally meant to be wiped with, and we aren't supposed to touch them. She's good at playing Tetris and very organized. I was living with my parents since I traveled for work and only made it home 1 or 2 weekends a month. She moved in with me at my parents' house. We had one room to store stuff. My bedroom we bought things we'd need when we moved out, when we saw a deal too good to pass up, and she stored them. I realized she was good when we had to make 4 trips to get all our stuff out. 4 trips. This girl had boxes inside boxes inside boxes. She utilized every inch available in our room to stack items. We just bought a house and still have some boxes left to unpack. I will call her at work and say something like, hey, do you remember that blue paper clip I like to use? I can't find it. She will tell me which room, which box, what container, and what is beside it, just in case I still can't find it. The true shock for me was the sheer amount of time my husband spends in the lavatory. Prior to the invention of smartphones, many of us kept a small library of bathroom reading material for just this reason. Edit. My pre-2008 preferred reading list, The Far Side, Calvin and Hobbes, The Economist. Edit #2. Based upon all the replies, I've come to the conclusion that somewhere in this world there is a chemical engineer who was inspired by reading the names of chemical compounds on the back of shampoo bottles while pooping. Edit #3. It appears that much of the world's premier innovators in energy, the environment, biomedicine, electronics, food production, and materials are inspired poopers. Uncle John's bathroom reader. 2 editions of it are still in the bathroom I used when I lived with my parents. How often I'd be helping her find her car keys. Eventually, I put up a hook that I was able to get her in the habit of using. Made me tear up a little at the time, but a couple weeks after we split I remember getting a text from her that said, I miss being able to find my keys. I always knew women went through TP faster than men, but I never knew how much faster they did. It got to the point I'd just grab a pack of TP whenever I went to the store for any reason. We may not be out at home, but we will be soon, I reckoned, and I was never wrong about that. How specific I have to be when giving instructions to do something. Like instead of saying wash the sheets I have to say wash and dry the sheets and pillowcases and put new sheets on the bed. This is exactly what it is like being a programmer. The classic joke is a wife tells her husband, a programmer, go to the store and buy a loaf of bread. And if they have eggs, get a dozen. The husband drives to the store and comes back with 12 loaves of bread. What the hell is this? The wife asks. They had eggs, the programmer replied. I once pulled Chewbacca out of the bathroom sink. Only once. It's a bi-weekly ritual in my house. And it's always my wife and daughters telling me that the drains are clogged and I need to do something about it. Oh look, none of my short hairs seem to be a part of these clogs. Why is it that I'm the one cleaning the drains? For me, how subtle the need for alone time crept up on me. I wasn't unhappy in the slightest, and moving in was natural. But over time I felt myself becoming irritable, and it turned out that I tend to get that way when I don't have time to myself, because I went from being alone in my room after work in my parents' house to being around myself pretty much every minute I'm not at work or driving, so I found myself with someone almost 24/7, and it took a toll. Thankfully once I recognized that, it was easier to manage. I thought if I ever moved in with a girl, I'd have to be way less of a slob. Turns out I'm the neat freak in this relationship. For each person there's a level of filth they can tolerate, and then a higher level of filth that forces them to clean the place. Those two limits create a window. If there's insufficient overlap in the couple's windows, it's a problem. One person does all the cleaning and the other one doesn't give a shit. Edit. Jesus Harold Christ on rubber crutches. This random comment has blown up. What a very very strange world I live in. Thanks for the gold, kind stranger. My wife has really long beautiful hair. I was not prepared to find that all in my butt and crotch regions as often as I do. I could never be prepared to have one stuck in my ass and have to pull it out like some mangy dog. I've never felt more violated or unclean than when I felt those hairs basically floss my lower GI tract. Somehow I swallowed a few, and passing them is a really disgusting feeling. She has told me that hasn't happened to her too, which makes it weird. And my ex-wife had really long hair, and I was constantly pulling 3-foot long strands out of my mouth. The worst was a maddening itch in my eye that I kept rubbing and rubbing until I realized I was pulling a hair out of my eye socket. Inch after inch I pulled out, feeling it tugging from under my eyeball. I have never observed my wife put a bobby pin in her hair. I have found thousands of bobby pins in our house. I built a sunroom out of bobby pins and elastic hairbands. The new extra carport is coming along nicely. I always thought of women as tidy and organized. That was until I moved in with one. I swear I spent 20 minutes a day helping so tidy up the mess she creates in the first hour every morning. Then another 10 minutes every day searching for brushes, hairbands, makeup, clothes, etc. Oh yes, my boyfriend always remarks on how much mess I can make just in the process of doing my makeup and finding an outfit. The audacity. No, but real answer is how loud he needs things to be. Every song / movie / whatever has to be heard from 3 rooms over. And the stomping and door slamming. It's like living with a silverback gorilla. I was told that we would start arguing and being miserable. It ended up feeling like a super awesome constant sleepover. Don't let people scare you into not moving in with a significant other if that is what you both want. I remember moving into my first share house and there was a couple living there. One day we were all in the kitchen and she spilled some rice. I had never been in a relationship, yet in my immediate reaction was, oh shit, here comes the anger, yelling and heated arguing. Instead they laughed and cleaned up together. It was eye-opening to see that normal people don't explode into argument over little things. Definitely the food. I'd eat ramen and canned foods all the time when I was living alone. Now I get spoiled with home-cooked food. The best part though is she's been teaching me to cook. I love our cooking school sessions after work. Edit. Thank you for the silver. I'm genuinely happy that I'm able to make her home-cooked meals now when she really needs me. My first roommate was a girl. She was the slobbiest person I've ever met. She had been a coworker for ages and was always neat at work. It was stunning. Her bedroom was just piles of clothes. The living room was clothes and jackets everywhere. Half-drank cups of water, you name it. I loved living with her. It was a very comfy mess. My wife is quite a bit more of a neat freak and has a cute little temper. Sometimes I wanna live like Shirley and Frank. I had that for a year. Please like and subscribe for more. This is Laugh with Memes. Goodbye.